Yeah, hello viewers. This is your guy Jibril, the authentic on Authentic Plus TV. Today I bring you a very sad, or let's say the bitter sweet story. We all know that 2Pac Shakur, died tragically, met his untimely death on the night of September 7th after he's gone to watch a match between his friend Mike Tyson and the opponent. But then just that day, that fateful day, 2Pac Shakur loses his life or lost his life to bullet being fired by known or unknown. I would say known or unknown, because there were certain issues that popped up actually after the incident. And for a high-profile case of this nature that has existed throughout the world, it brought a lot of, cold to the bones of people. I mean, it was so cold, everybody felt very cold. It shattered the whole world. Why? Why would anybody kill 2Pac Shakur? 2Pac Shakur was somebody in his music who was trying to, communicate. He was an activist, communicate for the speechless, the marginalized, those that couldn't speak. That was what 2Pac was using this music to do. So he was loved by all and sundry, across the globe. Everybody loved 2Pac Shakur. But then he was a member of Death Row Records, and there was a beef between Death Row Records and Southside Compton Crips. So after he went to watch the fight between Mike Tyson and the opponent, on that very day, there were a group of guys in a Cadillac, that, shot him. But hey, what preceded that? What preceded that? When 2Pac Shakur, after the match, saw Orlando Anderson, so him and with his team, right on Orlando Anderson, and started beating him up. So after that incident, he had to go somewhere. So he took off in his car with his colleague, and then this team, the Southside, Compton Crips, which had Dwaine Davis, popularly known as Keefe, and his nephew, Orlando Anderson, in the same car. They went somewhere, got a firearm, came back, and, chased up where 2Pac Shakur was. And so it is rather after the investigation that the police of Las Vegas were doing for all this time, 27 years, Keefe himself, who has been a suspect by many from the family of 2Pac Shakur, Keefe himself started talking. He started talking. And then, hey, people were asking, hey, what about Puff Daddy? Because, Puff Daddy, people were also kind of suspecting Puff Daddy. But hey, is that the case? And then Puff Daddy granted an interview that, hey, you got something to say? Hey, no, that's all nice, because looking at what Keefe was saying, that, hey, it's going to go haywire, the investigations are going to go very wide, and, people are pointing fingers at P. Diddy. He said, hey, that's a nut. And then you're going to see. That's why he said, you're going to see that, he doesn't have a hand in it. That's what he's saying now. That no, after the whole investigation, he's going to be set free. But then let's look at something. A case that has gone on for a period of 27 years. 2Pac Shakur got the shot on the night of the 7th September 1996, and then on 13th, it was reported, on the 13th of September, it was reported that, hey, 2Pac has passed on. So the police in Las Vegas have been following that case for over 27 years. My goodness, let's do this. Let's come down to Africa, where I come from. Africa. Would we have done the same? Of course, I believe in the African, police. I believe in them. I believe, yeah, come on. we are doing our best. We are doing it. Would you have followed a case to this end? They were following everybody. Everything this Keefe was saying, everybody who was a suspect, you know, they followed suit up to this level. And the police are now closing in on the case. And then, of course, the police had, you know, other information relative to the murder case. But then, what could they have said? Because on the night of the incident, that is the September 7th, the murder weapon vanished. But then they were able to retrieve casings of bullets, you know, at the crime scene. But then where is the murder weapon that will, you know, will be traced to somebody? And I think it was masterly done because there were no fingerprints and what have you. Because if there were fingerprints, I mean, the police would have done that with ease. I would have located the culprit already. But then, hey, it didn't happen this way. So what are we seeing? Now, let's look at one side of Mike Tyson. He invited 2Pac Shakur to the fight because there were other incidents or fights that had to happen, you know, after that one, which 2Pac wanted to come. But Mike Tyson said, hey, I want you to be around in this, to come and watch this fight. And then Mike Tyson feels so guilty that he asked 2Pac Shakur to come and watch the fight and eventually losing his life. Mike Tyson has been carrying this weight for a very long time. And then I'm sure they were all praying for a day like this. But let's look at the person of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, you know, believes and suspects P. Diddy. Why does everybody suspect P. Diddy? And even after Dwaine Davis has confessed, you know, people are still, you know, suspecting P. Diddy of being a party to the whole case. This case has been a case of serious puzzle that the American police have found it very difficult to solve. They follow the case up to this level, but then now Keefe has made it very easy for them and now has given them the opportunity to indict him. And then let's look at something. Orlando Anderson, the nephew of Dwaine Davis, Keefe, a.k.a. Orlando Anderson was the one that had a brawl with Shakur 2Pac. And then, okay, hey, Dwaine Davis got the murder weapon in the car, handed it over to Orlando Anderson, who was beaten by 2Pac Shakur and his West Side team. So was it a retaliation that, hey, you have to do it? So take the gun and then retaliate so that you feel free. Come on. This is so bad. So, I mean, it's so clear. But how does Puff Daddy come in? That is another puzzle to settle. So we have in our comment section, let's see what you have to say. Let's see what you have to say. Go to the comment section, leave all your comments, and then tell us what you know about this story and what you expect or how you expect the whole investigation to end. Is Puff Daddy a party to it? Does Puff Daddy know anything about this? Is Keefe really the shot caller? He's now confessed, so that's what we'll say. He called a shot. Now what about Orlando Anderson? So let's look at one thing. There is a crime. There is one person who committed a crime, and there is another person who abetted the crime. So the aider and then the abetter is equally guilty. So let's assume Orlando Anderson is no more. Keefe D has himself to blame because he is the main man now. So until Keefe D snitches on P. Diddy as being part of a plan or a ploy to take away 2Pac Shakur, that will definitely emerge as the trial goes on in the court. So what we say that will congratulate the police of Las Vegas for doing a yeoman's job, having, followed this case for about 3 decades and having come out with this, revelation. At least it gives the family of 2Pac Shakur, a certain rest that finally, we are closing in on this case. And whoever murdered our son, our brother, our uncle is going to pay for it, because it feels so bad when somebody like 2Pac Shakur will die and without nobody having to blame for it. So this is Authentic Plus TV. Kindly subscribe to the channel as we move on, and then we await your comments in the comment section. Let us know what you think about this case. Thank you so much. Kindly follow us on Facebook. It is Authentic Plus TV.
For 27 years, the family of 2Pac Shakur has been waiting for justice. We are here today to announce the arrest of 60-year-old Dwaine Keith Davis.
You have to be curious to what they raided his house about. Keefe D was doing a lot of speaking.
You know that old saying, how lies can keep spinning for ages, but eventually the truth kicks down the door? Well, guess what? Today might just be the long-awaited day. Fresh reports just spilled the tea that they've nabbed 2Pac's killer. And hold on to your hats, because it looks like the heat might be closing in on Diddy, too.
Do you feel like Puffy owe you?
Yeah, he should. I think he should look out. He look out for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
All them gnats, they can't really touch me. Y'all, at the end of the day, y'all see and y'all know what it is. The track record.
So what exactly is going on? The murder of the iconic rapper 2Pac Shakur has been a chilling unsolved mystery that has haunted the music industry and fans for over 2 decades. However, recent developments suggest that the long elusive truth might finally be emerging from the shadows. In a twist of fate that could only happen in the world of sensational scandals, Las Vegas detectives slapped the cuffs on none other than Dwaine Keefe D. Davis, a 60-year-old gang leader with a penchant for trouble. His arrest has sent shockwaves through the industry and given a glimmer of hope to those who have longed for justice in 2Pac's murder case. Mopremi Shakur, 2Pac's stepbrother, couldn't help but express mixed emotions about the arrest. He called it bittersweet, raising an eyebrow as he revealed that they had been well aware of Keefe D's involvement for years. The million-dollar question remains, why did it take authorities so long to nab a suspect who had been brazenly spilling the beans about his role in the crime? Homicide Lieutenant Jason Johansson didn't mince words during a riveting press conference following Keefe D's arrest. He labeled Davis as the leader and shot caller, leaving the room buzzing with questions. Interestingly, many of the facts surrounding the case were already in the hands of law enforcement during the early stages of the investigation. But the case took an unexpected turn when Keefe D started making admissions to his involvement in 2018. Sheriff Kevin McMahill chimed in, making it crystal clear that this case was far from over. He assured the public that they were actively building a successful prosecution. It's safe to say that Nevada's grand jury was convinced, as they indicted Davis for the murder after several months of intense deliberation. His arrest came as a surprise while he was casually taking a stroll near his home. What sets Keefe D apart from the run-of-the-mill suspects in this case is his astonishing willingness to spill the tea publicly. He openly admitted to being at the scene of the drive-by shooting that claimed 2Pac's life in 1996. He didn't stop there. He even confessed to passing the murder weapon to another gang member, making it all too clear that there were skeletons lurking in the hip-hop world's closet. But wait, there's more. in a shocking 2019 tell-all memoir titled Compton Street Legend, Keefe D spilled the beans on his involvement. He claimed to have been cruising in the very same Cadillac that was involved in the shooting. In this explosive literary piece, he let the cat out of the bag, stating that he had actually informed authorities about his participation in the back in 2010 during a super-secret meeting with federal and local law enforcement. However, Davis alleged that the authorities had promised him immunity in exchange for his cooperation, raising eyebrows about the handling of the case. And it doesn't end there. In the riveting documentary, 2Pac, released in 2018, Keefe D dropped the mother of all bombs. He boldly stated that he was riding shotgun in the car with his nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, on the night of the murder. He went even further, confessing to handing Anderson the murder weapon moments before the fatal shots were unleashed. 2Pac Shakur was a mere 25 years old when he was struck down by 4 bullets to the chest on that fateful night of September 7, 1996, in Las Vegas. His untimely demise left the world in shock, and now Keefe D's audacity to openly discuss his role in the crime is causing seismic waves in the music industry, especially considering the high-profile nature of the case. In a move that smacks of a Hollywood thriller, Las Vegas police swooped down on the Henderson, Nevada residence of none other than Keefe D's wife, Paula Clemens, this past July. This operation was all part of the ongoing investigation into 2Pac's murder, with authorities hoping to strike gold by uncovering evidence that could tie Davis to the crime. During the search, the police struck pay dirt. They recovered a stash of .40 caliber bullets from the property, crucial pieces of evidence that will undergo forensic scrutiny to determine if they are in any way connected to 2Pac Shakur's tragic death. The authorities' decision to raid Keefe D's wife's home speaks volumes about the intensity of their pursuit in this case. It sends a clear signal that law enforcement is closing in on Davis, who has previously claimed that Sean Diddy Combs had distanced himself from him years ago. These developments suggest that Keefe D's revelations may have far-reaching repercussions that extend beyond his own involvement in the crime. But here comes the most crucial of this tantalizing tale: the potential connection between Sean Diddy Combs and 2Pac Shakur's murder. Diddy, the music mogul himself, has managed to dance on the edge of legal repercussions for his alleged involvement in the crime, but recent twists in the story are dragging him back into the blazing spotlight. Scores of individuals, from ordinary bystanders to A-list celebrities, have woven a web connecting 2Pac's murder to Diddy in one way or another.
Everybody already having the in the back of their mind, like, that he had something to do with it. Like, it's basically evident.
The theories swirling around Diddy's involvement gain traction when you peer into the murky motives and shadowy intentions lurking beneath the surface. Detective Greg Coding, a former member of the Los Angeles Police Department who is knee-deep in the 2Pac Shakur murder investigation, shines a light on the labyrinthine complexity of Diddy's alleged involvement. Coding suggests that Diddy's motive may have been to shield himself from the wrath of Suge Knight, who was actively seeking vengeance for the 1995 death of a friend in Atlanta, a tragedy for which he held Diddy responsible. After 2Pac's tragic demise, Suge Knight allegedly dug deep into his pockets and coughed up a cool $13,000 to hire his own hitman, a Bloods member named Wardell Poochie Faust, to snuff out Christopher Wallace, also known as Biggie Smalls, a celebrated artist and a close friend of Diddy's. This was a retaliatory move that sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world. But the real kicker is this: how did Diddy get wind of Suge Knight's vengeful intentions? It's as if he had a crystal ball predicting the danger that was headed his way. This knowledge raises a red flag, suggesting that Diddy may have had an inside source, possibly someone with ties to Suge Knight's inner circle. And who better to fit that role than Keefe D, the man of the hour with his reputed gang connections? One of the most enduring enigmas surrounding 2Pac's murder is the whereabouts of the murder weapon itself. While the police managed to recover bullets and casings from the crime scene, the actual Glock gun used in the shooting has remained as elusive as a ghost in the night. Conflicting reports and rumors have swirled around the status of this elusive weapon. In 1998, a .40 caliber gun was shockingly discovered in the garden of a Compton residence, sparking speculation that it could be the murder weapon. However, ballistic tests on this firearm promptly ruled it out as a potential match. Detectives meticulously compared the casings found at the crime scene to the markings that the gun would have left on fired bullets, and the results were a resounding no match. In a bombshell revelation featured in the documentary, 2Pac, Keefe D dropped a truth bomb that sent shockwaves through the airwaves. He claimed that the actual murder weapon mysteriously vanished on the night of the murder itself. Detective Kading himself underscored that without the murder weapon, any connections made between the discovered bullets and the murder could be considered circumstantial at best. In essence, the enigmatic disappearance details the intricacies of the interconnected lives of these two influential figures. The friendship between a boxer and an activist may have seemed unusual, but it was truly genuine. It all began when Iron Mike was already a star, while Tupac was still trying to make a name for himself. Their paths crossed in a nightclub where the aspiring rapper amazed the baddest man on the planet with his incredible singing talent. Moreover, the charismatic singer's passion for boxing brought them even closer. This shared interest in the sport is what led them to start hanging out together and cultivate an unbreakable bond of friendship. Anyway, in a recent Drink Champs interview with DJ EFN and Noor, released on Sunday, June 11th, Iron Mike opened up about his 1992 prison stint, sharing a mind-blowing interaction with the legendary West Coast artist that caused an uproar during his visit. While at an after-party at the Palladium on Sunset in California, Mike instructed security to allow a group of young men to enter through the back of the venue, and one of those men turned out to be Tupac. Once he came into the visiting room, and there was all these hillbilly hicks, mean Aryan guys. As soon as he came up, everybody started clapping, Tyson said. They respected him. Soon as he came in the room, they started applauding. Before, Mike Tyson had shared this story with DJ Woo Kid, along with former NBA players Matt Barnes and Stack Jackson, during an episode of his Hot Boxing podcast. This was after the New York DJ had pointed out the incredibly rare artwork Tyson possesses, depicting 2Pac's compelling Machiavelli album cover artwork. The guards are saying that, "Hey, stop! Sit down!" He was Woo. He was a force, Tyson told Barnes, Jackson, and Woo Kid of the encounter. If he loved you, it was all love. But if he didn't like you, he looked for beef sometimes. He wanted you to know he was there. He continued, everywhere I go, out in Africa and Europe, people ask, what was 2Pac like? How was 2Pac everywhere all over the world? This is what he wanted. He wanted to be immortal. During his Drink Champs interview, Mike Tyson elaborated on how the meeting came about, sharing that he had only met the hit-em-up lyricist 6 months before his 1992 imprisonment. Tyson also revealed that it wasn't 2Pac who reached out and made the initial contact prior to the rapper's visit.
Everywhere I go, out like in Africa, Europe, how was Tupac? What was Tupac like?
Right.
Throughout the course of the interview, Tyson goes on to speak at length about the visit and also name-dropped several other A-list celebrities who visited him, including Whitney Houston and more. I had everybody. B.B. King, James Brown, Whitney Houston, Florence Henderson. Everybody came, he said. I can't even name them all. Just so many people came to visit me. During the interview with DJ Vlad, he further recalled the time when he forced Tupac to come and see him fighting. On September 7, 1996, Tupac attended Mike Tyson's match against Bruce Seldon at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Tyson wanted him there, but looking back, the boxer believes that Tupac might still be alive if he hadn't pressured him to attend the match. He even elaborated that Tupac wanted him to go to 622, but he insisted him to come to Las Vegas. I know who I am. I know what my element's about, he continued. This is just what happens in my world. That was part of my world. Just because it was 2Pac and I was attached to it, it was different. Nas, who had a brief feud with the rapper, also had plans to meet the Dear Mama lyricist in Vegas as they'd begun to put an end to their beef just a few days earlier. We both knew we were supposed to continue that conversation and probably just squash the whole thing. I was scheduled to meet him in Vegas, the Queen's rapper previously revealed. After some days of that fight, it was reported that Tupac had been found dead.
Yes, I remember that fight because I remember talking to Tupac, making sure that he would have the tape because I was coming out of his with his music.
Yeah.
And I was calling make it on time.
As Tyson was coming out of his music, he decided to meet 2Pac on his own. Unfortunately, the meeting could not be made possible as 2Pac died that day. I was at my house. I just had a brand new baby girl. I couldn't believe it. I told him I am coming to see you. I get dressed, then I had to go. I had to see my daughter, and somebody told me he had got shot. And the next morning, they had released that he had died. To this day, Tyson carries the weight of regret, haunted by the thought that if only he had arrived a few minutes earlier, he might have been able to help 2Pac and prevent his tragic death. The pain of not being able to protect his friend and witnessing the aftermath of that fateful night still lingers in his heart. According to certain reports, there are suggestions of Diddy being somehow connected to 2Pac's murder. The focus on this matter intensified when Biggie's murder case was reopened at the request of his mother in 2006. During this process, LAPD detective Greg Carding came across new information that seemed to link Diddy to the 2Pac.
He was known as the multi-law enforcement task force that investigated the murders of rap stars 2Pac and Biggie. That's the Wikipedia story about him, right? So I said, so who was really behind this?
Valletta Wallace, the mother of Biggie Smalls, filed a lawsuit against the LAPD, seeking around $500 million, citing the widely known conspiracy theory that the police had concealed her son's death. As a result of this lawsuit, the case was reopened in 2006 and assigned to LAPD detective Greg Carding. During his investigation, Carding stumbled upon more information than he had anticipated.
If you've seen the movie American Gangster and they got these pictures, is this the guy at the top? Is this the guy? So I have 50 different pictures with magnets, and he's putting these things up on. If you go to the video, you'll see how I set it up.
Detective Greg Carding made a significant revelation during his investigation. After an intensive 3-year investigation, Detective Greg Carding reached a startling conclusion. Sean Puff Daddy Combs allegedly ordered a $1 million hit on 2Pac Shakur. The motive was believed to be linked to the heated rap feud involving himself and Biggie Smalls. Carding asserted that the music mogul had significant gang connections in Los Angeles and enlisted the services of Crips member Keffy D to carry out the assassination.
Got to retaliate so they don't look like, a weak gang. And 2, they owe it to him.
According to Carding, 2Pac's murder was orchestrated by Crips gang member Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. Initially, Keffy D was intended to carry out the hit, but a last-minute change of plans resulted in Keff's nephew performing the assassination.
The Southside Crips and Orlando Anderson, Keffy D, they know that, hey, we just hit this dude in Las Vegas, and it's on.
This led to the tragic death of 2Pac and the injury of Suge Knight. Interestingly, hours before the shooting, Baby Lane had a physical altercation with 2Pac at a Vegas casino. Surprisingly, there are claims that Biggie Smalls' former wife, Faith Evans, was aware of Diddy's alleged plot to 2Pac. Following the murder of 2Pac, Keffy D reportedly reached out to Diddy and Evans to inform them of their involvement in the tragic event.
And it's Puffy on the other end of the line, hands the phone to Keffy D, and Puffy asked him, man, was that us? Was it, just...
In light of this new evidence, Detective Carding called for the case to be re-examined and for Diddy to be held accountable for his alleged involvement in 2Pac's murder. He expressed his frustration that justice had yet to be served for these 2 iconic rappers and their families. In a surprising turn of events, Keffy D's public confession during the documentary Death Row Chronicles seemed to corroborate Detective Carding's theory. Keffy D admitted that he was in the vehicle with his nephew Orlando Anderson on the night of 2Pac's murder. He also revealed that his nephew, who was seated in the back seat of the car, was the one who pulled the trigger. These revelations have ignited renewed interest in the long-standing murder cases of 2Pac Shakur and the notorious Big. Could this evidence be the key to finally uncovering the truth behind their tragic deaths? The plot continues to thicken in this labyrinthine saga as questions abound and theories swirl about the events leading up to the murders of 2 of hip-hop's most iconic figures. While the mysteries surrounding these cases persist, the families and fans of 2Pac Shakur and Biggie Smalls continue to seek closure and justice for their untimely deaths. It remains to be seen how these revelations will impact the ongoing investigations and whether they will finally bring those responsible for these tragic murders to justice. One thing is for certain, the legacy of 2Pac Shakur will continue to live on in the hearts and minds of their fans, and the music industry will forever bear the scars of their untimely departures.